Thank you for the little write-up and Dunmore and Are you good?
Oh, he thought you were going to have a helicopter.
Yeah, that's what I
said. I said, no, he's not going to bring the
I've got a couple of them at home.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Mike Deignan, Dunmore High School Class of 1979. Yep, feel old already. Thanks. On behalf of the Dunmore Cross Country Alumni Association, welcome this evening. Welcome friends and family of Coach Vince Fedor. Welcome members of the current Dunmore Cross Country teams. And welcome members of the running community at large. Including those of us who can no longer seem to climb out of bed or walk down a flight of stairs without pulling a hamstring. But we're still at it. We're still at it. Before we get started, we want to clarify one thing, please. Tonight is an anniversary celebration, not a retirement dinner. Coach Fedor is a long way from the finish line. So if you wouldn't mind, please, let's take out our cell phones and access our calendars. Let's mark a date for 25 years from this evening. We're going to get together again and celebrate Vince Fedor's 75th anniversary of coaching Dunmore Cross Country. Now, as we celebrate and honor Coach Fedor tonight, we'd also like to acknowledge the contributions, participation, and support of his wife, Judy, over these years. I know they've made a lot of sacrifices over the years together. I know they've had to reprioritize a lot of family activities to accommodate Dunmore Cross Country. For example, who would like to guess where and when Judy and Vince will be having dinner on their 34th wedding anniversary?
Applebee's!
No, it's not Applebee's, but that's a good guess. I know that's where I take my wife for our anniversaries. No, it's tonight. It's here, and the when is as soon as I get done talking. So, Donna Lucas has created a special anniversary cake. So it has to go back now. There's only 1 minute. That's for later.
This is just a prop.
You can't eat it. But hey, Donna Lucas has also created that magnificent cake that you've seen probably against the wall for Vince's 50th anniversary. She makes the cake boss look like a hack. But thank you very much, Donna. I just don't know why we have to wait till after dinner to dig in. So yeah, essentially we could be celebrating 2 anniversaries tonight. 2 anniversaries and at least 2 family reunions with the Harringtons and the Valvanos. All of them. So thank you everybody for coming this evening. We had an overwhelming response to the invitation that went out, obviously. The RSVPs just kept coming in to the point where we had to tone down the advertising because we thought, you know, there's no way we're going to fit 10,000 people into La Buona Vita. We have representation here tonight from each of the 5 decades of Vince Fedor's coaching. Yep. We're even able to dig up some of the members of his very first cross-country teams. Tom Cawley, Mike Umerick. Not sure if Bob Perry is here, but later on, D. Wolfman Rinaldi are all here. So they are the forerunners of today's program. I apologize for the poor choice of words. We'd have to literally dig them up. But no guarantees on that 75th anniversary. Breaking out the shovels. So Vince, it's been 50 years. That's half a century. It's a half a century. 50 years. 50 years is impressive. Half a century, even more impressive. So we're going to stick with half a century. Half a century of weekday afternoons and evenings and Saturdays in the fall. Preseason summer camps and postseason trips to marathons and road races. Not to mention the work he's done with the Dunmore High School track and field team, or the running community in general. Half a century of coaching and mentoring our young people from 7th grade through 12th grade without the benefit of any feeder type program, right? There's no Little League baseball, midget football, or bitty basketball equivalent for cross country. It's all Vince Fedor, 7th grade through 12th grade, and all those challenging age groups in between. So it starts with running 101, and then he maintains that delicate balance of hard work and recovery, season after season, that's just so critical for the proper development of a distance runner. And then trying to get an entire team to peak at once to make a run at a championship event. And for any of you who have coached runners, you know that's one tough code to crack, because every runner seems to respond differently to the workloads. So when we speak of Vince Fedor, we hear all the good verbiage, right? All the complimentary adjectives. Unless, of course, you're in the middle of one of his workouts, then maybe not so much, but that's a temporary thing. We hear words like committed and dedicated and patient and generous. A little bit crazy. If you want to see the crazy Vince, you want to go for a run with him in the driving, pouring rain, and all I say is the bigger the mud puddle, the better. Trying to think of what I was going to say next. Okay, yeah, I guess the one adjective, the main adjective that is most descriptive of Vince Fedor is the word humble. Vince has coached individuals and teams to win district and league championships. He's coached individuals and teams to qualify for state championships. He's mentored individuals to continue their competitive running at the NCAA level after high school. But probably most importantly, he's inspired generations of us to maintain a lifetime of fitness. And all this time, it's never been about Vince Fedor. He never seems to have proactively sought the recognition or credit that he rightfully deserves for his accomplishments. To the contrary, he's shied away from it. And although we're sure he appreciates all the attention and is probably quite flattered by all the attention that this anniversary has brought from the television station interviews and the newspapers calling, we are not quite sure that he's terribly comfortable with it. And that's too bad, because we're having a party anyway. So to that end, we decided when we were putting the format together this evening that we didn't want to spend 3 hours with showering Vince with accolades and speeches, mainly because we didn't want to sit for 3 hours, but it's just not Vince's style. So we thought we would go light on the podium and heavy on the socializing. We do have a few speakers, mainly alumni, that are going to share some stories or anecdotes after dinner, as well as some commendations from some of our community leaders like Mayor Tim Burke. But for the most part, it's going to be light on the speeches, heavy on the socializing. In closing, I'd like to say that between the summer camps and fun that we've had up at 21 Cub Road, to being a part of Vince's championship teams, through the engagement party that Vince and Judy had for my wife and me, that some of the most fun and memorable moments that I've ever had were with Vince Fedor and the Dunmore Cross Country family. I'd like to add that I don't think there's a person in attendance here tonight that hasn't benefited either directly or indirectly from the dedication and commitment and generosity of Coach Vince Fedor. So as your Toastmaster tonight, I would like to propose the first toast. If we could hold up our glass of our favorite replacement drink, Gatorade, chocolate milk, or whatever else you might be drinking. And here's to Coach Vince Fedor. Thank you for your first 50 years, and here's to another 25. At this time, I would like to introduce to lead us in a prayer of thanks from the Dunmore High School class of 1983, Kim Grochowski Marchese.
Thank you, Michael, and everyone for being here this evening. First of all, I don't know, I graduated in '83, and currently I own the religious store at the Dunmore Corners named Building the Kingdom of God. So Lukey came up to me, and he came into the store all of the 2 times that he's been in the store. And he said, Kim, do you think you could do the invocation for Vince? I said, I'll think about it. Don't you have a man here that could rise up and do this prayer? He said, I don't think so. I'll try, but I'll come back. The second time he walked into my store, do you think you could do the prayer? I said, I'll do the prayer. So it's actually an honor to be here this evening to do this prayer for Vince Fedor. And when I was praying about this and how I would approach this, all I could think about is Father Abram. And he looked up into the stars, and God said to him, you will be a father of many. And that's what he has been to all of us, a father of many. So I have these sheets here. I put some out there because because we're a public school system, I didn't want to pass them out. So I put them over there on the table. It's a very simple prayer of all the different prayers I was trying to present here this evening. I wanted to bring in Vince's character and what he's been to all of us, the simplicity and the love. Like, it's amazing when you can change so many lives and not mention the word God in anything. It's because of your life and the life and the leadership and the fatherhood that he has given to each one of us. And I think that is a testimony of the Dunmore school system, which we are so proud to be a part of. So we thank all of the teachers that have been here, that have been such an instrumental development into the character that we are all here today. So this is a runner's prayer. So I wanted to focus right in on the runner's prayer. I knew there had to Google one runner prayer. So I liked this one. It said, a runner's prayer. God, grant me the strength to travel this distance, the courage to push through the pain, and the wisdom to know when to pick up the pace. Without your guidance and understanding, I could not be the runner that I am today. Amen. I thought that was very simple and beautiful because it so reminded me of Vince on this special day. So now if we bow our heads into the prayer for this evening and the blessings upon this food. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of Vince Fedor in each one of our lives. We thank you for all that he's done for the Dunmore community and the father that he has been to so many of us. We ask you on this special day to bless him and his wife and their continued love and dedication to all that they are to each one of us and to this entire community. We ask you to pour your blessings upon this evening and this food and all the people that you have brought here this evening to give you praise and glory for Vince Fedor in this day. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, Kathy and her amazing staff right here inside La Bona Vida have these 2 buffets set up for all of us tonight.
We're going to continue with these proclamations and some anecdotes and stories from some of our alumni while we're having dessert. As promised, some of the proclamations, and the first is from a United States Congressman. So I get to do what a lot of us have always wanted to do. I'm going to speak on behalf of a United States Congressman. Now, in today's political environment, I think I'm going to play this one safe, right down the middle. It's from Matt Cartwright, the 8th District of Pennsylvania, and it reads, Dear Vince, it is a distinct pleasure to extend my congratulations to you as you celebrate your 50th season of coaching cross-country for Dunmore High School. For 5 decades, you have instilled commitment, accountability, leadership, and work ethic into the young people of Dunmore High School. Under your tutelage and direction, you taught them about running and about life, and they have gone on to successful careers as civic and professional leaders. It should not go unrecognized that you have also enriched the hearts and minds of elementary school students during your 35-year teaching career. In and out of the classroom, you have been an inspiration to all those that you have encountered. The regional running community is forever indebted to you and your contributions. As one of the founders of Scranton Organized Area Runners and the director of many regional road races, you have shown unwavering commitment to serving others and fostering a place for your former athletes and students and area residents to be runners for life. I admire the work that you have done to establish yourself as a leader in the region's running community. Congratulations on your 50 seasons of coaching cross-country, and thank you for all you have done for the Dunmore community. I wish you continued success on this very special occasion. Sincerely, Matthew Cartwright. Very nice. Vince will take these with him. The second proclamation comes from the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, and it's from Kyle Mullins. And it reads, whereas the House of Representatives of Pennsylvania takes great pride in recognizing those gifted individuals who challenge, inspire, and teach the youth of this Commonwealth, our most precious resource. And whereas Vince Fedor is being honored upon 50 years as a coach of the Dunmore High School cross-country team, and whereas, as a coach of the Dunmore High School cross-country team for 50 years, Mr. Fedor has helped to guide the program. He has also contributed to the regional running community as a founder of the Scranton Organized Area Runners Association. Exuding vision, energy, and enthusiasm, Mr. Fedor approaches each day's work with the highest of professional standards and sets a sterling example of dedication, skill, and hard work for his young athletes. He truly is a role model worthy of emulation. Now, therefore, the House of Representatives of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania congratulates Vince Fedor upon his richly deserved recognition, offers best wishes for a most happy and rewarding future, and directs that a copy of this citation, sponsored by the Honorable Kyle J. Mullins on November 26, 2019, be transmitted to Vince Fedor, 909 Columbia Street, Scranton, Pennsylvania. Kyle J. Mullins. Very nice. At this time, I'd like to introduce to you the mayor of this great town, Mayor Tim Burke.
Good evening, everybody. This is a great honor for me to give this proclamation out to Vince. Good man. You can tell by all the people who are here. They all love Vince and all the work he has done through teaching and teaching runners, and the people, just by the audience here, you can tell how much love is still involved with the people in this town with Vince. But it's my honor to give this proclamation to Vince. But the Borough of Dunmore would like to join in celebration and recognize a man that has dedicated his life to teaching, mentoring, and coaching the youth in our community for the past 50 years. Vince Fedor's hard work, enthusiasm, and perseverance has guided the Dunmore cross-country program not only on the courses they ran, but through the course of life. Coach Fedor has been a spur to many of the young men and women he taught and coached. His incredible journey has given our community not only himself, but many professional leaders who always call Dunmore home. Coach Fedor has many junior varsity and varsity allocates that include several league and district championship teams, including state championship participants and several district and state medal honorees. But Coach Fedor's greatest achievement is that 5 decades of alumni still enjoy, participate, and are involved in running today. Our governing body, together with Dunmore Cross Country Alumni Association, would like to express our gratitude for his endless dedication as coach, mentor, and inspiration to everyone that has privileged to call him coach. It is with great pleasure that I, Tim Burke, Mayor, along with Borough Council of Dunmore, Lackawanna County, supports and applauds the hard work, dedication, and commitment of Coach Fedor, and are collectively proud to say that he's part of our Dunmore community. As Mayor of the Borough of Dunmore, together with Borough Council, I do here proclaim Friday, November 29, 2019 as Vince Fedor Day in the Borough of Dunmore. Congratulations.
Next, we'd like to quickly recognize the championship team from this year, just a very fitting championship for Vince's 50th season. The Dunmore High School Junior High cross-country team went 22-0 this year. They won both the league and district championships. So I'd like to ask those young runners to please stand up and be recognized. I know it's near my bedtime.
They're coming. They're roaming around outside.
Vince has them running, doesn't he?
Little interval work.
Now we're going to introduce some of our alumni guest speakers. Our first speaker, one of the very first team members that Vince Fedor ever coached, a guy who's still running incredible times. I won't give his age, but quite sure he came close to breaking 3 hours in the marathon at age 60. Not sure how long ago that was, but maybe he can tell us. Tom Cawley.
I did run a 2:59:59 at Steamtown, by the way. Thanks for having me. 1970 was quite a long time ago, but I figure our team did something right because he decided to stick around for another 49 seasons. But I look back on these years that have just flown by, and I think of all the great things that have come to me, basically from Vince Fedor. He probably doesn't know this, but even in my real estate business, I happen to be a real estate agent at State College, probably 75% of my clients are directly or indirectly related to running. That's where I meet people. And if it wasn't for Vince, I wouldn't be running. So back in 1970, let me take you back there. Let me take you back even further to 1968. Right? I'm in junior high school. I'm coming out of Apple Street. Everybody remembers the junior high school on Apple Street? Those of us that are eligible for Social Security. Anyway, I get into high school, and I knew I wanted to do something athletically. I always did a lot of stuff, but nothing really organized. And I come into Dunmore High, and I said, what can I do athletically at Dunmore High? And people remember Dunmore back then didn't have very many sports. We had golf, baseball. I have no hand-eye coordination, so neither of those sports are going to work. Of course, there were basketball, and no need to tell you why that wasn't going to work. And then there was football. Well, maybe I was 105 pounds soaking wet. So my choice was to actually live or have maybe some gridiron glory. I chose life. So I decided I would go out for cross country. And I walk on to the first practice in the summer of 1970, and the whole team is there. We didn't have a girls' team. We had no girls' sports at Dunmore at the time. But the team is there, and it's a bunch of guys that are basically like me. You know, what else are we going to do? Let's run cross country. and we had no idea what the heck we were doing. I think we had like 3 coaches. I think somebody didn't even make it through the whole year, the first 2 years. I don't even remember. I think Charlie Mecca actually was one of our coaches at the time, right? And so anyway, I don't know if we won meets. I don't know how we did. Those first 2 years were kind of a blur. And then I think actually they got coaches by having somebody stand at the Dunmore corners with a sign saying, "Free beer to anybody who will coach the cross-country team." So I guess the free beer thing worked because in 1970, this guy shows up. He's tall, pretty thin, longish curly hair, kind of looking like Howard Stern. And he tells us he's going to be our new coach. And I think in those 2 years that he coached me, he learned a lot from us, we learned a lot from him, and we turned into a pretty darn good team. Junior year, senior year, we went to the States, led by Tom McDonald, Maxie McDonald, who was a fantastic runner, probably, with all due respect to everybody else that have run for Vince, the best runner that he was good.
He's a medal winner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, at States. So we learned a lot about running, and it was amazing that he led this group of people to 2 state meets in such a short period of time. But for me, most importantly, he gave me a lifelong love of running. And I had a little break in between, but I started running again as an adult. And last month at Chicago, I ran my 35th marathon, and it's all because of Vince. And then I've run New York, and I've run Boston a whole bunch of times. Some other people in the room I know have run those races. But really my favorite marathon was always Steamtown, right? Coming back home and running the Steamtown Marathon. Bill King is here, who's done a great job with that race. For those of you that are aspiring to run Boston, Steamtown is way better than Boston. And one of the reasons is my favorite. So I'd be running Steamtown, and you come up through Green Ridge, you're coming up the hills, and there's the water stop that's organized by the Dunmore High cross country team. So I'd come past the water stop. Next thing you know, the same tall, skinny, longish, curly-haired guy is running next to me going, "Go T, go! You can do it! Only a few miles left!" And if you ever run a marathon, you really need that kind of encouragement. So I could just stay up here and just talk forever about running, because that's how runners do, right? We get together, those of people that are married to runners, they're talking about running again. But the one last thing I want to do is, I mentioned the 2 trips to the state championships, but really the crowning achievement, I think, for us in my years was my senior year, where we were District 2 Class B champions. And I'm gonna pull out of here this jacket. I'm not giving it to him because this is mine. I've literally had this hanging in one closet or another in the various homes we've lived in since 1970. No, I'm sorry, 71, senior year. We had these made, and you can see somewhere in the front, it's District 2 Class B champions, and we got to wear these around school. It was so great. Like here, the cross-country team, right? Who knew? It was a cross-country team. We got to wear these jackets around, and we thought we were tough, you know what. So I hang on to this. I've worn it to run. There's some paint on it. I've painted things with it. I think I've changed the oil in my car wearing it. But the most important thing is, having run all these years, and I've tried to stay in shape, and it actually still fits. So thank you, Vince. And I'm so glad that I could be here for this day. And I'll talk to you later.
Next up in our guest speakers, former team captain, former class president, and inspiration of our 1978 cross-country champion team, and master storyteller, Jude Harrington.
Don't tell them what we did.
Those secrets are still good. Welcome, and Vince, congratulations. What a milestone this is. Mike, you did say something about 5 decades of runners. Actually, we have a 6th decade. My brother's here. My brother Pat, he ran under one of the 3 coaches Tom was talking about, Mr. Martinelli.
Oh, yeah.
And
Kevin Clark.
Oh, and Kevin Clark. Okay. Well, you guys need to get together and share some stories. But that's not really his big contribution, other than he was the first one to finish first against Abington. But that's not his biggest contribution. He actually was the feeder program for the cross country. He put 7 of his 8 kids has run, and they're here tonight too. So I'm glad you guys came from far away. I would also like to extend a congratulations to the junior high team, because with this event we've been texting a lot and actually following, and send us a picture of the news articles and everything. So it was really exciting to see that energy. Are they back? Where are they? Well, and now it's time to stand up. Stand up and be recognized. Well, if I can, I would like to share almost something with them and anyone who's graduated about in the last 2 or 3 years, because you really may not realize what has happened and is still happening. I'd like to take you back to the early years of running, kind of like what Tom was doing. And you have to picture, let's just pick a team, Valley View or Central. We can pick Central for Ray. How'd you get in here? Central was our nemesis as much as Abington was for years and years.
I ran off course.
Oh, that's what it is. But he should have wore a Dunmore alumni. But anyway, so let's just say we're running against Valley View on that crisp fall day. And at that time we were running at the Worthington campus, Penn State Worthington campus. And we didn't have a bus in those days. We had something better. Coach Fedor had this brown Dodge car. What kind of car was it, Vince? Dodge Dart? Dodge Swinger. Okay.
Known as a carnival car.
Yes. Well, one thing. Do you remember? I remember some of the songs we'd listen to. Carole King. I feel the earth move under my feet, and I always thought that was about cross-country running, but we figured out years later that actually wasn't the case. But there's a lot of memories in that car. Part of it was, we'd get together at the school, and we'd all get ready to go race Valley View, and you'd lace on your Nike Cortez. Remember, $18 down at Tom Taylor's? We couldn't afford those, but the Dunmore School District bought them for us for free. And we could, Vince, no offense, but one of the reasons I know the Sagan family ran for you was to get those free shoes. So, actually, there was other motives in there. But also, then we'd stretch, and then we would rub on atomic bomb. Does anybody know what that is? You guys don't know what atomic bomb is. It's like orange-colored Vaseline that you rub on your muscles to make them warm. It didn't work at all. I said, but it didn't make you smell like the other cross-country runners, so we thought that was good. So then it would be time to get up to the course, and we'd all go to load the vehicle, and we're loading it with this container of ERG, electrolyte replacement of glucose. Remember that, Vince? Now,
Joe remembers.
Joe, you remember ERG? And Dom, where's Dominic Rinaldi? He didn't drink his ERG, and that's why he passed out on the course. Now, really, we didn't know what electrolyte replacement of glucose means, but if Coach Fedor told us to drink it, we drank the Kool-Aid. Whatever he said, Whatever he said, we would do. So we put that on, and then we'd load the car. I remember one time, where's Sagan? Mike Sagan. Bruno. Yep. I remember him pulling something out of the car. I said, Mr. Fedor, did you graduate from Abington? He said, no. Well, what's this Abington football doing in the back of your car? He says, that's a long story. He'll tell you later. But then he also, so we go, it's time to pile in the car. So Phil Burge and Joe Cardello, hi Joe, they were the seniors, so they got to go in the front seat. But in the back seat then, we'd put Gene Sagan, Mike Sagan, Mike Deignan, John Klobosecki, Nick Volvano. This is in the back seat. Plus, the junior high team, we would squeeze them in. Joe, if you were taller then, we would have left you at the school. And then I realized why he had us put this atomic bomb on before we had to get in. I mean, there's so many legs crumbled. We look like a pretzel box in there, I think. But we'd get up there, you get up to the course, you're driving down to the course, you get out, and you get that smell. Not the atomic bomb. It was the smell of fall. And there isn't a fall goes by that I don't walk out of my office and I'm hit with the fresh cut grass smell, and it's fall. And that means it's cross-country season. And I often think you guys, that's why I enjoyed your guys' run for the championship, because it almost feels like it brings you right back there. Those are some of the things you're going to remember. But you get out on that course, then you cruise along to the starting line, and you get pumped up, and then the feeling hits your stomach. And you don't know whether you're going to throw up or whether you have to go find a restroom and poop. I don't know. Or maybe both at the same time, and that's happened before. But, I mean, it's just a gut feeling and then the race starts, and then you're in your zone. And magical things happen as you travel that course. One of the favorite things I remember, memories I have, that I hope you guys have at some place on your new course, and that is the course was really had 3 loops. There was 2 short loops and 1 large loop. And remember the hills? The hill went up high. I mean, it had to be like about an 89% slope. And Vince had these, he was always cutting edge in the 70s and 80s, coming up with new ideas. And remember the 20, okay guys, we're going to fast for 24 hours. And then we're going to run 10 miles and see what it does to our protein levels. Mike and I are up at his camp, and we're saying, you know what? He just doesn't want to pay for another day of food for us. That's what it is. And so then the one thing we said, these hills are really tough. And he said, well, I got a way to get around that. And he said, what you do is you're going to attack the hill. Give it all you got. You lower your arms, you lean into the hill, and you pick your knees up as high as you can, and you attack that hill. So that's what we did. That hill was so steep, we had bruises on our forehead from our bony knees hitting them. But it worked, because Valley View was laughing so much at us looking like gargoyles going up the hill that they got cramps, and we were able to run past them. See, so that his strategy was always hard to figure out, but it always came out in the end. One of my favorite things about memories for Vince is at that first loop mark, there was a flat paved area, and he'd be standing there with Owen Conahan, the coach of Valley View. Is he here today? Where is he? Where's Owen? Raise your hand. Did he leave? You know, sometimes when you race against a coach, it's strange that you would become good friends with them, but we did. We ran marathons and a lot of other races too. But, you know, they'd be standing up there competing against each other and still best friends. And coming around the first group would be Joe Cardello. And he said, 5 minutes, Joe, come on, you can do it. He's so encouraging and inspiration, kind of like what Tom was saying. Come on, Joe, I know you've got 5 injuries and you just broke your jock strap, but you can do it. Come on. And then Joe would come flying by, you know, and then Bruno Sagan would be coming by, and he'd, come on, Bruno! I love the way he said, Bruno! And he'd be yelling for Bruno, and Bruno would come by, and then he'd say, and Owen would say, who in their right mind would name their kid Bruno? You know. But then he'd pass by, and then these 2 guys would come by, Mike Deignan and Gene Sagan with these grins on their face, and Mr. Fedor's yelling, "This is supposed to hurt! Come on, guys! Move it, move it!" And they'll pass by, and the list went on. Bill Malice had come by, stone-faced, make some sarcastic comment when he went by. He had a dry sense of humor, and I miss him dearly, but we got some good pictures of him, too, to remember him. But dry sense of humor, he was actually very funny. You know, and then, of course, at the end, you know, you'd have Phil Burge and, you know, Nikki, and Vince, come on, the team's coming back around, and they need to pass you, move faster, move faster. Always encouraging. Actually, Phil's one of our leaders. So, you know, so when you think about it, the miles roll by, the years are going to roll by, but you're going to remember certain things, the smells, which will transport you back in time, the friendships and the camaraderie that you have. And I still share with our team, and I value that, you guys. But they just keep coming back, and it's all because things were put in place and worked on 365 days a year by Coach Fedor. So we've run marathons, we've done a lot of great stuff, and you've attended the funerals of most of our parents, and there's a support. It's deeper than a friendship. So many times I hear stories about coaching around, you know, whoever I'm talking to, and I keep going, well, you should hear this story about our cross-country coach. And that's the way you're supposed to lead high school students, is to train them, because it's not about winning. Even when we beat Abington, he said it's not about the win. The first time, he said it's not about the win, it's what you guys achieved on your own today. So, again, thank you. Enjoy this evening. We love you.
Our next speaker is also a member of a couple of our championship teams. He's also a retired United States Army colonel and one hell of a helicopter and fixed-wing airplane pilot, Jim Toby Viola.
Hey. Well, it's certainly wonderful to be in a room full of all these runners in Dunmore. I think the community is awesome. It goes all the way back to the early days of you know, when I was in grade school with Vince and Mike and Lukey. Thanks for putting this all together. And I guess you didn't give the other guys the same 5-minute rule, because, you know, Tom and Jude aren't saving any time for Vince. So I'm going to try to save a little time for Vince.
I have nothing to say.
Oh, come on. None of those games. This year's team is another great team, so going 50 years and still being able to do that. And the thing I want to focus on my 5 minutes is that the 77 team that, you know, Jude led, whenever Vince would get interviewed as the coach, and, you know, they'd come up to the coach first and say, you know, what inspires this team? Why is this team doing so good? And he always didn't have an answer that talked about himself. The 77 team was they were unselfish, that they were able to group well, that Jude Harrington pulled the team together. So it was always about that team building experience, not about Vince being able to get us to do our best and run as hard as possible. And the same thing goes for 78 with the tri-captains. It was never a single captain or a single person that led the team. Vince always focused on getting everyone together as a team and being able to focus on the leadership that's going to help us on in life. And being the unselfish part that I've already mentioned. But mainly, you know, and he did some of those crazy things to me too on some of those stories. Like, you know, when he says, I want everybody to go home this weekend and do LSD. And I'm like, LSD? Long, slow distance. You know, I was like, okay, we can do that this weekend. We can do that. And then, of course, my senior year, when they're like, well, you run cross country, so you could be on the swim team. You can do the 500. You know how to hold your breath, right? So those are the type of things that, you know, he developed us as individuals, and I really appreciate that. And, you know, I told him about earlier, had a little conversation, because I took that leadership stuff with me in the military and also still with the Federal Aviation Administration, where I tell people you got to look at those guardrails. You know, you just don't run down the middle of the road. But he challenged all of us to look left and right and go as far as we could in our life. And so I continue that, and it's something that you taught me, Vince, is you got to find them out. And his response to me when I had that conversation earlier, he goes, yeah, I think I screamed at you once or twice. So that's what it's about. It's about getting everybody to go to their full potential, and I appreciate that, Vince, and thank you very much.
Okay, our final alumni speaker, also a member of the district championship team, Bill Trip O'Malley.
That's the first time I've been called Bill in my entire life. Thanks, Mike. I have a proclamation here from United States Senator Bob Casey. Dear Mr. Fedor, it gives me great pleasure to extend my warmest regards and congratulations as you celebrate your 50th anniversary of coaching cross country in the Dunmore School District. Your commitment to the students is commendable and noteworthy. This anniversary is a remarkable milestone and is a true testament to your dedication and commitment throughout these many years. Thank you for all the work you have done and all that you continue to do. I look forward to your continued success. Sincerely, Bob Casey, Jr., United States Senator. Coach, I thought we were going to put you right over the edge, and that was going to be it. 25 years, done. But he persevered. He got through our group, and I just want to say, well, do you remember the innovative? I heard some things about Coach and how innovative in his techniques he was, and we ran railroad spikes. Remember that? It did not last long. Didn't last long. But anyway, I just want to say, Coach, thank you so much for all that you did for me personally. I wouldn't be the person I am without you, and I'm sure everybody in this room owes something in their lives to you, or you just mean so much to us, and we're so happy that we could all be here and remember and reminisce and be here with you. So, love you, Coach.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Next up, some of our younger runners. They're going to come up together. Nicole Marzzacco, Nicolette Lucas, and Anthony Behler.
I'd like to point out, just because we're younger doesn't mean we're not alumni. We graduated 2 years ago, right? They're 3.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. Many things can be said about Coach Fedor, and not one of them bad. Whether an all-star runner or someone who runs a 12-minute mile, Coach Fedor always gave you the one-on-one time that most other coaches do not. Coach has some different traditions and beliefs that set him apart from the basic coach. One of these, and personally my favorite, was Coach's obsession with dimes. We've all seen them, but Mr. Fedor takes finding them on the side of the road to an extreme, thinking they bring us luck. Coach would yell, "Look," and we'd all stop to see him pick up another dime. My favorite dime memory was in 2016, right before we were heading to the state meet. Coach said he was looking for a dime all week and couldn't find one. As we were loading this white van that probably looked kind of sketchy, like it was just Coach and a couple of runners, Coach found a dime after not finding one all week. He believed that dimes brought good luck to the team, and in reality, I now stop to pick up a dime if I see one. Not only did dimes bring the team luck, they also brought a lesson on proper running form. If you take a dime and put them between your middle finger and thumb, it helps you not clench your hands when running, allowing for a better form. Every sport has drills, but not every sport has A and B skips. 6 years, and I think only 2 people ever did them correctly. Not even Matt Murray was able to get them, so Coach would try to teach us the proper form every year, but in reality, we just looked like a herd of stomping cattle. Even though we never mastered how to skip properly, Coach always loved us, his little herd of cattle.
I kind of have a story about how Coach disciplines. No one's really gone for that because I'm sure none of us have ever gotten in trouble by Coach. For years on the cross-country team, there was never a dull moment. We would give Coach so much respect for dealing with our dysfunctional cross-country family. Every single one of us in the room could have a billion Coach Fedor stories, but our favorite one shows what kind of coach he was. For example, some of you who have run in the later years know our course has this steep hill. I think one of the other speakers just talked about it, where it's right behind the football field. No, where is it? Baseball field. And we had two of our runners in our years, we're not going to name names, they were going to practice one day, and they decided to, they threw an apple in the woods from up top. That apple just so happened to hit a lady right in the head, and that lady knew it was like our team. So she went up to Coach, told him that she was upset, and then Coach went back and immediately found the two who did it. And he didn't send them home for the day. He had them run reverse on the trail until they found the lady to apologize. And then he sent them home. He did his usual, Coach Fedor, you're done, go home. And then that was it. The rest of us poor souls had to face with Coach's wrath the rest of the day. But yeah, thank you, Coach.
So there are so many traditions that Coach would always do with us, and our favorite is obviously the pre-district workout. Not for the workout, because that was awful, but for the reward we'd get after. He'd always bring us chocolate milk from Manning, so everybody always looked forward to it. But, you know, some of us are picky like me and don't like chocolate milk. So one day he went out and he got us a small jug of strawberry milk for those who didn't like the chocolate. And another one of the traditions Coach always talks about almost every first practice is locking your waffles. And if those of you who don't know what that is, he always tells the story of how the first shoes, when they first came out from probably that long ago, were made by putting the mold in waffle iron to create the bottom of the sneakers. So nobody ever forgets that story. But my favorite thing about being part of the cross-country team is the strong support from all the past alumni. For my senior project, along with my partner Daniel Lapaka, who helped recreate the alumni race, we weren't really sure how many people were going to come back out and run because, I mean, everybody's kind of older and didn't really know who's going to make it. But we were actually astonished by how many people came out, supported it. Even if they didn't run, they made some donations. And it was really great to see all of them come back and just show respect and love for Coach Fedor. So we've really been truly honored to be part of your team. And even though our team didn't win many awards, we will never forget our many years of running and everything we've learned from you. So thank you for everything, Coach, and may you run forever.